You are optimistic, you are positive, you're excited about being a chiropractor, excited about the profession, about the incredible history, the incredible philosophy, the incredible art, the science, and of course the practice of chiropractic. You're excited about reaching people with your practice and building an exceptional life of being productive and being prosperous and generous while you are filled with love, fitness, and fun. Your purpose is to become a smarter, more powerful, more capable, more driven, and superior version of yourself by always increasing your awareness, your knowledge, your understanding, your motivation. You get stuff done. Your hands-on skill, right hand, left hand. Your communication skill, and of course your mastery in the art of having an exceptional life. Every single podcast does at least 4 things. Causes you to naturally attract more great new people into your practice, makes you more capable at motivating and persuading people, empowers you to make smarter long-term decisions, and of course, you are energized physically, you are energized mentally, and you are energized financially. Very interesting here, the concept of becoming smarter. How much do you think being smart correlates with your level of income? Is a chiropractor who collects $80,000 a month smarter than a chiropractor that collects $30,000 a month? Maybe. What if the chiropractor collecting $80,000 a month has a $60,000 a month overhead, is in trouble with the state board, wants to spend a bunch of money they don't have, and so they have no investments and they're always scrambling to try to collect more, while the chiropractor who's collecting $30,000 a month is well within their means, automatically investing, creating passive income, much lower stress. See, winning in chiropractic really has little to do with your collections, as long as your collections are above a certain level. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is sort of the ultimate state of the chiropractor. Some of the components of the ultimate chiropractic practice, which ties in with the ultimate chiropractic life. And that's a much bigger conversation, because then we're bringing in other things. Remember now, we only have 4 key areas in life: love, health, career, and money. Love, health, career, money. Your love and primary relationship component of your life, your personal health and fitness part of your life, everything related to your work and career and practice part of your life, and then everything related to your personal money handling, money situation, money automations, money savvy, ability to make it, ability to handle it, ability to hold on to it, and your ability to grow it over time. A lot of people out there fiddling with money, trying to do things to look or feel important. What matters is what happens with money over time. This is why having automatic compounding, automatic reinvestment is essential. Because if the chiropractor has to mess with something, deal with something, if they ever can actually touch the money, the chances of tremendous accumulation are practically zero. We have to have a system that guarantees accumulation. Now, I've got several points here talking about sort of the ultimate practice, And there are many different things that come into play here that cause this. These are the effects of those causes. These are the result of those causes. And of course, every result in itself is a cause for something. In no particular order here, although I'm going to kind of say them by number, let's just take a look at these and see what you think. Let me ask you, if you could list 10 qualities, 10 attributes of the ultimate chiropractic practice, what comes to mind? Now, if the first thing you think is collections, well, that's like what an 8-year-old would say. Collections are the result of something else. Collections may be in there, but the chiropractor is hung up on collections too much instead of what actually causes them, or how they are caused. The first one I have here, the ultra-successful chiropractor, the ultimate chiropractic office, has no marketing expense, zero. There are no Google ads. There are no Facebook ads. Marketing allowance, zero. Other than maybe buying some candy bars from some kid who's raising money for the hockey team. Zero marketing. Can't even remember the last time they did pay for anything marketing-wise. All they have is a website and some business cards. There are no ads anywhere. In print, there's no cards going anywhere. As far as postcard mailing, there's nothing in social media. This chiropractor probably is not even making any post ever in social media. They're probably not even on social media. No marketing. Compare yourself to that. Point number 2. The office is a referral generating machine. 30 plus direct patient referrals a month. 30 to, let's say, 70. So the office is completely self-sustaining. It is completely self-generating. It requires no outside input. It requires no help. It grows and sustains itself on the merits of the quality of the service and of the people inside the four walls of the office. You ever see a Lamborghini commercial? Never. Lamborghini sustains itself entirely on the reputation of Lamborghini. In fact, it would be an embarrassment for them to have to advertise. And actually in chiropractic, I hate to say it, but it's sort of an embarrassment if after 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you have to do any marketing. That is a sign there is something or many things that need to be fixed, and that's what we're here to do. The great winner's edge systems result in the no marketing practice. The great winner's edge systems cause your office to become a referral generating machine. Next point, no particular order. Point 3, I have it though. The ultimate practice has no layout limitations. The layout of the office is perfect and can handle way more people than the chiropractor can. They don't have an office that needs this, or they're holding out and they're going to try to ride it out without having to do this, or they don't want to move, and they're sacrificing something out of sheer laziness. They have gotten their office layout into its perfected state for maximum flow of people with absolute minimum effort and the minimum number of steps by the chiropractor. So the physical space of the office is perfected. Remember now, you have to manage space and time to be successful. With incredible step management, the sight lines, of course, the corridor concept here, all of the correct equipment, not too much of it. Many offices get going, they become successful, and they keep adding equipment until they're out of the, quote, success envelope, you might say. And they go to where the overhead and the stress and the headache actually starts to override any little increase in collections. They're out of the power curve. They thought bigger was better, and they kept on going until bigger wasn't better. And all it does is add stress, complication, and lower profit. Layout limitations. I'm telling you, you've heard me say it many times. If I did not draw your floor plan, it's probably costing you $50,000 to $250,000 a year. If you just have to take 3 more steps with people, 3 steps, that's nothing versus 11 or 15 or whatever. This is a bare minimum. This is the minimum. 3 steps, say at 40 people a day. You end up walking 30 miles a year for no reason. We've used this example before. Let's say you start walking 30 miles and I start adjusting people. How big of a pile of money will I have by the time you're done walking for 30 miles? Multiply that by 5 years, 10, 15 years. Multiply that by 10 or 20 years. So we have to have the layout perfect and all the proper equipment. What equipment should I have? Well, I could tell you exactly if I had you on the phone. Next, no CA limitations. You have a team, possibly no team, because an ultimate chiropractic practice, and by the way, I'll get to some examples in a minute, may have no CA, solo DC. You can be super successful running completely solo. But for this particular point, we have no CA limitations. In other words, they can see way more people than you. And the office can handle way more people than you. So you see here, the next point I have, which is actually point 5, is everything is hanging on you because the team can handle anything that walks in the door and the office itself can handle anything that walks in the door. Versus you got a layout that's janky and you really haven't fixed it yet. And you got a CA thing and you need to bring in another half-time person, or you got somebody in the morning and somebody in the afternoon, which will never work at high levels. How could it? You can't have one quarterback in for the first half of the game and another quarterback in for the second half and expect to win anything. So we have the layout perfected and we have the team in place. So everything hangs on you and your consult, the quality of how you explain chiropractic, the quality and the depth of your examination of spines, your explanation and taking of any x-rays, your Insta-report process, how you introduce people to chiropractic for the first time, and there is a very definitive art to doing this. How we have a plan for the person, how we make our payment arrangements, the quality of each and every office visit, so that people like it and want to come back, and they go home and say, I went to the chiropractor, it was really great, I think you should go too. The quality of the experience. A couple days ago, I have this watch. Somehow the band broke. I don't know what happened, but the band broke. Yachtmaster. And I find this little watch repair shop in an older part of the city. Caliber watch and clock or something like that. And I drive down there, and of course you got to park on the street because it's an older neighborhood in this particular case. And I walk into this old brick building at the end of a little strip of shops. They had the end unit, red brick. And I walk in, had this old ceiling, and in there were advertisements for old watches and old clocks. And they had old watches and old clocks on display. It was really interesting. And they were doing their work where you could see it. They had a front counter that was very simple, and behind that, with these lamps and all these cool little tools, they did the work right there. And I handed this gal my watch and said, "Can you fix this?" And they said, "Sure." She finished with somebody. She went back, turned the little light on, grabbed some fine little tools, did this, did that, wound it, set it, did all this, brought it back up, and said $10. I handed her a 20 because that's all I had, and I said, "Thank you. Keep the change." And she said, "Well, thank you." And I walked out of there and got in my car, and I thought to myself, I just thoroughly enjoyed every second of the 10 minutes I spent inside that place. I don't know the people. I'd never been there before. But when I walked in, I could tell they were into their craft. Attentive. Got helped right away. Did some excellent work. Reasonable price. It's like, I was like, I hope another watch breaks just so I can go back. The same is true for you. You want people to come in. Look around and see only chiropractic posters. Nothing stupid like nature scenes. Chiropractor offices have stuff on the walls that is not chiropractic. And they completely waste that space on the wall. Would you ever go into a golf pro shop and see anything other than golf pictures on the wall? This usually happens because the chiropractor has some help in designing the place and they make it look like a spa, which of course never works for chiropractors. Only chiropractic goes on every wall in the office. Just like here, they only had cool old watch and clock stuff. What did that say? They respect their work. They respect their history. They're into their craft. You are in the right place. If I walk into a chiropractor office and I see chiropractic posters, chiropractic handouts, chiropractic talk, you see, chiropractic videos, well, then I'm in an office where people are into their craft. And that's big. Next, point 6, is the ultimate office operates in a 3.5-day week or less. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's it. The ultimate schedule I've seen, Monday and Wednesday morning, Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. 13 hours a week. Talk about that in a second with some examples. So we have to have mastery of time and time efficiency. Now, you cannot start that way. Now, the problem with this is I'll have people out here like you who want to grow thinking you can have a schedule like that. Well, you got to earn that schedule. You have to pay your dues. You have to get up over 100 visits a day and get all your debt gone and then you can refine. The chiropractor of today wants to have a ultra successful chiropractor schedule without actually being ultra successful. Want trophies without actually winning any races. You got to get good at something first, and that's hard, and it takes thousands of hours, and it takes years. There's no getting good at anything in chiropractic in under 10 or 15 years. You think you know something after a few, but really you only know enough to think you know something. But as you get going, get 10, 15, 20 years in, you'll realize when you look back, you didn't know anything. As it relates to time and efficiency and the ultimate practice and the work. And by the way, on that, you have to realize that what somebody else did somewhere, it has nothing to do with you. I'm always amazed as a chiropractor might ask a question in a forum type scene, and other chiropractors will say, well, you do this and you do that. You know how bad that is? If you are in Kentucky, let's say, your thoughts or opinions mean absolutely nothing to anybody outside of Kentucky. You understand that? We'll have a guy from Texas ask a question, and then somebody from Wyoming will say, no, you got to do this. Because, understand this, chiropractors. How it works in your area does not apply anywhere else to anybody else. Well, you got to use a 97039. Not here, you don't. You would never do that where I'm sitting right now. Well, you got to do this with Medicare. Not in Florida, you don't. It works totally different. And in California, Medicare is different. And in Minnesota, it is absolutely different. And if you drive 20 minutes into Wisconsin, it's different yet. So your advice on how to do things only applies for people in your own neighborhood. This is why questions really need to come to me, because I understand what's going on all over the country. And I don't have the chiropractor problem of thinking how it works for me is how it's supposed to work for you when you're in another state. It's like, duh, but people don't know that. They think, oh, this is how it works. CAs are like this too. Oh, no, we do this. You have to do it this way. You do? Not in our state, you don't. So you have to be very careful when you're rendering an opinion as to whether or not your opinion is worth anything. And if you don't have direct personal experience, not an opinion on it, but direct experience, like in that area, in that locality with those state laws, those board guidelines, statutes, administrative rules for record keeping, marketing, advertising, payment arrangements, you don't know. You think you know, but you don't. So you have to be very, very careful. Now back to the task at hand here. The ultimate chiropractor has some thoughts and opinions that are limited, and they're cautious about giving them because they realize everything is different in every other area than it is for them, versus assuming I do it this way, so you should too. No, that's bad. It's short-sighted. It's self-centered versus others-centered. Like, I don't know what's going to be best for you in your area with your rules, your regulations, your laws, your insurance environment, your networks, you're not in the networks. Everything is so different. So we have to be very, very careful. Next, number 7. The Ultimate Chiropractic Office has an incredible reputation. See, I went to that watch place, and now I'm going to tell people about it, and I'm going to spread this really cool, positive reputation for the place. You see that? So what are people saying about you? How do they talk about you at the dinner table? Not how do you want them to talk about you. How do you hope they're talking about you? They're actually saying stuff, good and bad, hopefully more good. And if we want to know how good or bad it is, we look at our referrals. If we're generating a lot of referrals, people telling other people to come in, that is the reputation indicator, your influence indicator, your popularity indicator. We want that to be good. Point 8 for the ultimate chiropractor, the ultimate chiropractic office of 100 potential points, but here's one. Of course, there's money flow mastery. The entire Winner's Edge chiropractor money flow system is intact. The giving, the way we teach it, is intact. Expenses from the practice are intact. The tax-paying system is intact. The debt elimination system is intact. The automatic investing into the correct investments in the correct accounts with the correct proportions at the correct time in the correct way with the correct adjustments as may be necessary is intact. And the chiropractor is generating without lifting a finger, ever making a phone call, having to think about it, ever. The chiropractor is generating passive income that is automatically reinvesting and that is automatically compounding. Number 9. Ultimate setup. We've got a fitness-centered chiropractor. A chiropractor that orbits around the water they drink, the quality of the food they eat, the movement, the stretching, the strength training. You have to be lifting weights. We have to be using the muscles and the joints of the body. Do you have to be a high rocks competitor? No. And can you build a monstrous practice without ever working out? Of course. Many of the most impressive chiropractors I have ever seen that have ever touched me, it has never crossed their mind to exercise for 1 second of their life. Look at Warren Buffett. Do you think exercise has ever crossed his mind? He could give a rip, and he just turned 94. I think people are going to be surprised in the end when they realize how much of what they did for their health really didn't matter. It's kind of like if you took a person that lifts a lot and you took all of the protein powder out of their body that they ever took, they would look and feel and perform exactly the same. It will not have made any difference ever. But man, it's sure easy to sell that stuff. I don't know if that's true, but I suspect that it is. Jaguars don't take protein powder. Racehorses don't take protein powder, do they? Do they have pre-workout drinks and post-workout drinks, or do they just drink water? The highest performance creatures on earth eat simple, and they just drink water. And then here's we are thinking we got... But of course, there's money involved. Keep it simple. Fitness-centered, health-centered, longevity-centered, but not to an extreme. Number 8. Excuse me, I'm on number 9 now. Moving on. Generosity. There's a certain generosity. A generosity in the moment with giving, when there's opportunities to give or to share. The person feels it's their duty to be like that. As we look back here, we got no marketing, referral generating machine, layout is perfect, team is intact. Only the DC has the responsibility to grow. They're not hanging anything on the team or the layout. It's all now on the doctor's quality of care and treatment time. They've got a beautiful schedule. They've increased their reputation and their influence, popularity. They've got money flow mastery. They're leading the chiropractic power, fitness, and longevity-centered life. And of course, there's a generosity that's involved as well. A couple quick examples here. Chiropractor that I've been working with for over 20 years. Works 13 hours a week, 4 4-hour shifts. He owns the small building, rents half of it. His building is paid for. The building he owns generates profit every month. He has zero rent. He and his wife go in, they turn the lights on, they see 100 people, and they go home 3 or 4 hours later. Look at the overhead. It's getting paid to be there for the space, and what he pays his wife, that money goes into their household. Has like almost, look at the overhead. Chiropractor collects, let's say, $40,000 a month with like a less than a $5,000 overhead. Great money disciplines. Seriously fitness centered. It's the ultimate chiropractic power life. And look how simple it is. Then we have couples that can practice together. We can have partnerships. Now, we can't have the same level of performance because when two people practice together, that's a one-person practice simply split with two people. You never have two people in an office and double anything. Remember now, 2 chiropractors in an office, if everything is done perfectly, you can get 1.2 doctors of production. This is why, even though with all the winner's edge tricks and systems and secrets, if you have a chiropractor collecting $100,000 a month, if you put 2 chiropractors in there, it would collect $100,000 a month. It won't go above it. There's mysterious laws that govern this because of you cannot put 2 people in the same space and time. Each person needs their own space and their own time if you want to double the productivity. There are advantages to practicing with somebody, but collecting more just isn't one of them. Okay, that's what you sacrifice in order to have the togetherness, you might say, and be able to practice as a team. And I like the idea of practicing as a team. But if I want maximum performance, I'm going to have to unchain myself from anybody and go out there and do it. We have people that run completely solo. They walk into 500 square feet. They use the Winner's Edge solo chiropractor procedure. They're paying like zero rent because they got the landlord. They give the landlord and the landlord's family some free care. So they pay zero rent, zero CA expense, collect $30,000 a month, and just take all of it home. Then we could have bigger operation, 3,000 square feet. We could have a bigger operation like 3,000 square feet, 7, 8, 9 assistants running around, collecting $150,000 a month. But now we have the stress of the employees and all of these other things that comes into play. We can have everything in between. The point here is this. Efficiency is the key. And this is what we always say, and many of you have heard me say this many times. We'll wrap it up on this. The goal for the ultimate practice is to what? See as many people as you can in the smallest space that you can, with the lowest overhead, the fewest number of people, the highest number of referrals, the highest collection per visit, the lowest amount of debt, the highest amount of automatic investing, with the tightest schedule. You see that? It's efficiency in every area and in every metric relating to a chiropractic office. It is not about just collecting more. It's about collecting and then having it be with the least amount of energy, the least amount of ongoing stress, the least amount of potential breakdowns along the way. We want the highest reliability and the highest amount of stability, because that's how you build the ultimate practice, and the ultimate practice is the key to your building the ultimate chiropractic life. Tory out!